Here's the deal. Millions of miles traveled across the globe. Thousands of concerts attended. Hundreds of thousands of records and concert tickets sold as a music store owner. Some people listen to music. Some actually live the life and survive to tell the tale. This is the autobiographical life story and rock and roll adventures of Max Baker Jr. Sponsored by MedCards Made Easy. Visit MedCardsMadeEasy.net and the Fabulous Baker Boys. Always hiring. For more information, call 405-417-7656. This is the Here's the Deal podcast with Max Baker Jr.
I am Max Baker Jr., and this is my story. Here's the deal. Here's the deal. Here's the deal.
Hey, what's up? It's your boy Jelly Roll, and here's the deal.
Yo, this is Big Dad Rich, the Band of Outlaws, THC, Texas Hippie Coalition. And
Here's the deal.
Hello, I'm Charlie Crockett, and here's the deal.
Hey, this is Jeff Keith from Tessa, and here's the deal.
What's good? My name is Yellow Wolf, Catfish Billy, and here's my pool stick in your grill, and here's the deal.
Hi, this is Joey Ramone here, and when I'm in Oklahoma, I party with Mad Mac.
And we're back with another episode of the Here's the Deal podcast, the Max Baker Jr. story. Everybody's headphones okay?
I'm good.
I'm good.
All right.
Well, yeah.
And every time we do this at your house, Max, we seem to be in a different position.
What an odd thing to say.
And
Every time we do it at your house, we're in a different position. You want to try again?
Oh, damn,
Want to
dude.
try again, Jay?
After the day I've been having is that, well, welcome to the Stones room.
Well,
The Rolling Stones.
Actually, Max, we recorded the original first
Right here.
2 episodes right here
Right.
that never got published.
Yes.
Because we went back to the drawing board after we listened to it and decided we needed to bring on Jeff Brown.
Actually, there was more than that.
We'll release them one day.
No, like the first 15 episodes were done here. Because the one we did with Carrie was here. The one with
The one
That's
we
right,
did with
that's
Dave
right.
Brown was here.
Dave Brown was
Yeah,
here.
yeah. I guess you're right. So we did.
Well,
we did the first.
There was a couple.
few.
There was a
Movie
couple that we
sets
did
at
up at the
Max's
office
house.
too. We did the office in here.
But the original 2 episodes, Jeff, we recorded 2 episodes here that was just Max and I.
Right.
Correct.
And one of them, the
And a
first
squeaky chair.
The first one, Jimmy Johnson was here.
Yes.
And then the second one was just you and I together, and we hadn't figured it out yet.
It was it was definitely off the cuff.
So when did we take that picture of you and me and Max and Josh and Jimmy? That was
here.
Yeah.
I want to say that was
Maybe episode 4.
Yeah, I want to say it was around
5?
4 or 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. It may have been a little bit later than that,
and
but not much.
No one's seen Jimmy since. He's been in the kitchen.
No,
baking.
no. Here's the thing. No one has seen Jimmy since. But here's what Jimmy's been doing. Jimmy's been baking goods.
He has.
mean, and
selling out.
But he's not only that. We know he's a hustler. We know he's good at what he does. His band was good at what they did. So he's even pushed it one further. He's fixing ready to open a
grand opening.
Opening
March 1st in downtown
Guthrie, Oklahoma. Downtown Guthrie, Oklahoma. He's going to be. This dude can whip up some cinnamon rolls,
Bro, did you see the pictures of the croissants?
Yeah, I love it.
Strawberry croissants? Are you kidding me?
Hey, listen. I'm a diabetic, but I'd probably go into a diabetic coma eating them.
So who would have thought all those years ago when Jimmy was playing with Element back in the 90s at the Diamond that he would be opening up a bakery in downtown Guthrie, Oklahoma 30 years later.
He has a gift.
Oh, he does.
He has a gift. He also did all, he's a chef, and he got those awards for the barbecuing and everything, and plus his right away burgers. I mean, go Jimmy, go,
bro. If you've ever been to the Oklahoma State Fair here in Oklahoma City, you've been to the Pork Council booth where they had the pork chop sandwiches, that recipe was developed by Jimmy Johnson.
Yes.
And he was the one out there cooking it for years and years. The dude can throw down. And then Right Away Burgers was above and beyond.
Yes.
So good.
I've always wanted to have a food truck, Jimmy. You know what I'm talking about? We talked about it.
Well, and then he's been in 3 different bands, local bands.
Yeah, he's talented. And plus, too, you know, he's what I call one of us. You know, hustles in his heart and knows not an option.
He was a young man when we met him.
Very young man, you know.
And Gary and Nate and all those guys.
Nate Dogg. Rest in peace, bro.
Gary, let's be honest, Gary was never young.
Well, that's true.
Gary was like the Mick Mars of Element.
Well, Gary, we love you. You know we're having fun. You're a comedian. You know what it's all about. Don't come looking for us, Gary.
You know, but hey, his sister, Lisa Becker, who, you know, very fond of, she died the other day of cancer.
Oh, dude, that's sad news.
Yeah, Gary lost his sister.
Oh, wow.
God bless her.
Hang on just a second. What was that beeping?
That was his scooter that he forgot to turn off.
Oh, it needs to be turned off.
All right, hang on.
I can't walk right now. I'm having issues.
One moment, please.
We having a technical difficulty. Back in 30 seconds.
And here we are.
We can't be having that beeping of your scooter, man.
Okay.
I had to turn that off.
Back to fucking cancer.
Hey, just pull that cable behind you. Just pull it a little closer to you. It'll give you a slack. Just pull it.
Right here?
Yeah.
Pull more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cancer's a bitch, man. And I don't know how else to put it. One of my coworkers, or I guess former coworkers, Craig Humphreys, because he retired at the end of the year. His wife Bev is going through cancer and battling it right now, and then obviously.
And so is David Brown's wife.
Yeah.
Every single one
my
of us.
lawyer, who I love dearly, Rebecca Snyder, she just died from it as well. You know, I mean, you know, they said it went into remission, and then all of a sudden it come back up, and
I've got another coworker that his father-in-law just passed away from cancer just a couple of weeks ago. I mean, every single one of us has been touched negatively by this disease and by cancer. And then the state of Oklahoma took a massive hit this past week with the passing of Toby Keith.
Absolutely.
God bless him. You know, I mean, then what
a neat guy.
That's what I wanted to talk about, you know, about Toby, because I grew up in the same town as he did, Moore, Oklahoma.
Aren't we in Moore right now?
We're in Moore right now. No, we're in Cleveland County.
So we're just
we're on the cusp of it.
So a couple blocks over is Moore, Oklahoma.
I mean, back in the day, I wasn't allowed to hang out in Moore.
Why? Because Toby Keith was there?
Well, I mean, he wanted to beat me up a time or two.
This is generic Solo cups from Dollar Tree era, not red Solo brand cup
area. The red one hadn't been a Pacific yet.
Yeah.
So, but
this particular geographical location is more Dollar Tree than actual Solo brand.
Being in the entertainment business, you know, and having a labor company and all of that, and having a record store, you know, as I wanted to reflect on Toby, is I didn't know him. I grew up in the same town, but I knew people that either played in this band, the Easy Money Band, Danny Smith, who he's a brother to me. But
dude, one of the greatest steel guitar players of all time, Johnny Helms. Dude was phenomenal in the Easy Money Band. I've used him on several sessions.
Michael Crosano or
Crosno,
Crosno, and you know they they were all just teenagers. No, everybody having a good time, and Toby was the Easy Money Band was the band that I think they played at more high school out there on the football field, and as I would have run-ins with the dude,
So I got a question for you. So with Channel 9 did their big feature on him, and then obviously that was before he passed away. But
the one with Robin Marsh?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
that was deep.
I learned a lot about his career.
He recorded a commercial for them before he got big.
They played it, and then
if
you watch the whole thing, at the very end of it, she presents him the contract, invoice, and a copy of the check in a frame and gives it to him because she found it in the records and all that. And they paid.
How cool!
Wow,
they paid.
She's a nice lady.
They paid him $6,000 to do that.
Wow,
and he wanted to do it because Reba had done it.
Right.
And he did with the band and everything.
I mean,
Full band. It was really cool.
His Oklahoma roots are deep.
So the question I had for you, like Hanson, when you had your record store and Hanson was an independent artist and they were working those kids, they came by and you were selling their independent release.
Correct.
Did you sell any of Toby's independent stuff?
No.
Or did you not have a record store yet at that time?
I didn't have a record store yet. How I came in contact with Toby was, and knowing his band, was when he first started out. They had a hotel down there on 74th behind the Red Lobster off 240, and they would park a bus there.
Hold on, the Red Lobster off of 240.
It was the Los Cordos Inn. Was the name of the hotel?
Was it?
Yep.
Okay.
On the south side of 240?
Yeah, right. No, it's on the south side of 240.
Right before you get to Western.
Right before you get to Western.
Right there by where Carrie Staten works.
Right.
Correct.
By that Platinum Club. That used to be called something. What was it? Cadillacs or?
No, it wasn't Cadillacs. It was. It'll come
Saratoga Station.
Yeah.
Saratoga Station.
There you go.
So anyway, they would park this bus over here by this hotel
whenever they weren't on tour.
And when they went on tour. So what was happening was he had just got his record out, and not quite yet had the record deal.
What was this? This was his independent record.
Independent record.
Okay.
So what they would do would be, and how I found out about it, had this guy named Eddie. When I first did shows in Oklahoma. And like I said, I've been hanging out with David Huff, Jam Magazine, and all that. I met some production people. Eddie had lights. So he did a couple of events for Huff. Well, and he worked with Pantera boys, and so Eddie ended up being Toby's lighting guy. So Eddie would come up here and hang out, and then one day Eddie stumbled into my record store, and we rekindled our friendship, and I had he would hang out, let me know where he was going, because they'd parked the car at the hotel, or country guys are a lot different than.
And your record store was like a mile down the road from where they parked?
It was like 7 blocks.
Yeah, from where they parked the buses.
Where they parked the buses. So they were always looking for new music. And plus, it got me into.
You couldn't carry everything on your phone, boys and girls, back then. If you wanted to bring some music with you and you went on a trip, that was a part of your luggage.
You had to do what the best thing in the world is to do. You had to come into a record store, forget about life, and dig into the music.
The greatest invention ever. Case Logic.
and so we became. And plus, I was just now getting into. Being a roadie and running my store in the music business and moving around, and then, hey, you're cool. You met some people that are in production. This is a light guy. And then to find out he worked for Toby, well, I know that guy through just running the streets of Moore. And, still didn't meet him, didn't figure it out. So as time went on.
So you told me a story about the Rock City days and Chastain.
Yeah.
So did you meet this guy before?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I mean, But like I said, back in the high school days, cruising the streets, when we had our bar Rock City Cafe.
That was 1992.
92. Toby's band was called the Easy Money Band. They had Danny Smith in the band, Toby Keith, Michael Crosno, and a couple others. And they were all from the area.
And what was that hotel? Was it the Ramada Inn?
The Ramada Inn. They had a bar, and they had the owner's name was Fred Cortez.
What happened to that Ramada? What did it turn to?
It's a Mexican bar now.
No. He's asking about the
hotel.
The hotel.
Oh, the hotel.
It's still there.
Like right now, it's still there.
Yeah.
It's like one of them Oyos, O-Y-O.
Okay.
You know, that used to be not a quality. What was it when? I mean, all the bands that played Rock City stayed there.
Stayed there.
Because we had
out front of it It used to be a bar called Gushers. They had a big oil derrick out of the top of it, and then it went to a strip bar, and it was what was it?
It was
Triple
and then
X?
it was a steakhouse.
XXX Ranch.
Yes.
XXX Fantasy or whatever.
That had the blue tarp stapled on the roof for years.
When we had Rock City in '92, it was Black Gold.
Right.
And it had a restaurant down in the,
so
in the
where was Rock City compared to where that was?
It's
North or
behind
south?
it. Behind it.
Right behind
it, yeah.
Okay.
And so they shared
where
this
Toby played was right next to
Gotcha.
front.
Gotcha.
And they put a Taco Bell there. And so
for all the stoners to eat at.
That was all right there was all parking.
I'll have you know.
And so
that is the Taco Bell of the infamous car ride with Lisa. That is the place.
We've got some stories about Black Gold and
Chastain's. It's on the south side, you know.
It's that latitude and longitude brings out the Oklahoma-Bermuda Triangle. Right there.
See that
25th and I-35. Crazy.
And that building that Rock City is in used to be a racquetball court and fitness place. And so it was two stories.
It had high ceilings.
And it had the glass deal where you looked out on the racquetball court and stuff. And
so anyway, we had the bar, and Fred Chastain and the Easy Money Band, they had that up there, Chastain's, Fred Cortez. And basically we were doing body count, and we kept having a lot of parking. Well, they walked down there, Toby and Fred, while we were setting up, flexing, walking into the rock bar, going to tell us how it was, and we told him how it was back.
And see, we were already having problems because Body Count's Cop Killer had just gotten real big.
So the cops were everywhere, and then you had
these people are upset with us.
Let's add some more drama onto it, dude. You know,
it was not good,
and it just
we didn't have enough parking lot for all the people
for
that were
everybody.
there. We didn't oversell the building. There just wasn't enough parking lot for all
and
the
plus
people.
Too, if they hadn't came at us the way they did, we'd have probably been workable.
Yeah, we just sent some security guards over there.
Up there. But you know, they come off like and you got to remember back then, you still had stoners, rednecks, cowboys, jocks. So you had those classifications.
It wasn't intertwined.
And plus, too, the rock and roll we were throwing down and making happen was, it was Hollywood in the 80s.
Also, it was within the first 30 days of us taking this club over.
Right.
So we were like the new owners. Chastain's had been there for a minute. Cool minute. And we were the new kids on the block, and they're like, no.
We're going to tell you how this area rolls.
Okay, so at this time, what was the hot spot? What was the place to be?
Where we were. No, seriously, because here's the deal. The Body Count drew the line in the sand for the first time, but then when we brought like
Joan Jett,
Pauly Shore and this wrapped around the building,
Mr. Big,
Rollins and Tool.
Skinny Puppy. We had types.
So when we had these big nights, it was a problem for over there where Toby was playing at Chastain's.
Right.
And The rest of the time,
especially if the hotel was full.
Now, here's the thing: we couldn't get enough people consistently into that building to keep it. Okay, so there was a lot of times there wasn't anybody at all around there. But the few times when we had these sellout shows, it seemed like Toby was playing because there was an issue.
It's like the Easy Money Band was playing too.
That was their weekly gig.
And so what they would do is they would come over, some band members, what's his name that you just said, the owner,
Fred Cortez,
Fred, and a couple of their security. They would have this little posse that would come over.
The only time it ever got cool was when Smitty comes walking in. He's like, Baker, what's the deal here, And that broke the ice. But still, and Toby went on to do his career.
Smitty went on to be with Miller Audio.
And so Smitty ended up with his company, Miller Pro Audio. All of them were like connected. And I met Smitty. And so here we go. Jeff, on the other hand, as a promoter rep, he got to do Jeff could tell his sport. I'll let him talk. His story of the fact that he's done a lot of shows in the beginnings of Toby, and then
hold on, you left one thing off about the Rock City building, didn't you? And Toby.
That he cut. He should have been a cowboy video
in that
building.
That was the song.
That was the song.
And if you, what little bit you can see of the club, that is where Rock City was.
And then then you fast.
And that was like '93, wasn't it?
Yeah, you fast forward to a few years when I had the Midnight Dolls. Larry Shaper hired me to take two girls out to the airport. You wasn't sending a telegram, you wasn't sending a text. What I sent was a dozen roses with two babes, two hotties, and an invitation to join Dwight Yoakam and Pam Tillis on some shows that Larry was promoting, one of them being the Zoo Amphitheater. And he didn't dig that too much either because he was with his wife. And, what would you, we're talking showing up at the airport like you're a hero, which he was. But that was what my job was. Larry Shaper had told me, I really want you to give me a hero's welcome. And, I want him to open. But you had to know Larry to know that. You're being asked of a job to do. You didn't want to fail. And so that was one of the things. What else did you do? What did you do? And I'll go on to some others.
So, like in 1996, we started in the In Cahoots chains, and so there was an In Cahoots in Indianapolis, St. Louis, Wichita, Tulsa, Oklahoma City, and the one out in
Phoenix.
It was was it
Indianapolis?
Phoenix? No, it was in Arizona.
Tempe.
Hold on, I'll cheat and look.
Flagstaff?
No, it wasn't Flagstaff. It wasn't in Scottsdale. It was. I don't see it on here. Anyway, so it was called Stampedes, but all the rest of them were in cahoots. So I was working for DCF at the time, and David would buy a block of Toby Keith dates or a block of Chris Ledoux dates, because all those are routable. You can go from Arizona, you can go to I-40, you can go and do the Oklahoma City date up I-44 and do the Tulsa date, then back up to Wichita.
Were they the Thursday through, did they do the country run? You get in the bus on Wednesday, you play Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Right. You're back at the bus stop on Sunday.
And so we bought a bunch of bands like that. Chris Ledoux, Toby Keith. There was a bunch of them that we did back then. Tim McGraw, but we also did the rock bands too. We do Leon Russell, and we would do. So anyway, we would do these because that's all routable. And so if you buy a week's worth of dates there, you get a better deal.
Right.
It works out for the band.
It ain't that way today.
So I would follow them to all the dates, and so they settled with me every night. So it was all very familiar. I mean,
right.
It was really a cool.
It was a well-oiled machine.
It was, and so I think 96 and 97 was a Blue Moon tour, and I can't. There's several tours there that we did. And we did all those dates, and then he got too big, of course, to do to go to those smaller deals.
That's how it happened.
But I found a pass, or actually I found a couple of passes when I did him in '96.
Where was In Cahoots in Tulsa?
In Cahoots in Tulsa, man, I don't even remember the address.
Was it on Memorial?
I think it was over. Yeah, it might have been on Memorial. Yeah, I think it might have been. It was over there off of 44 on that side of town, kind of like over by where the other side was, I think. Maybe. I can't remember. I'll have to look it up. I've slept since then.
You got to remember, folks.
I've slept since
Fentanyl
then.
wasn't around then, and Jeff was blowing some shit up his nose.
Would you stop? Would you stop? Now, see, people really believe that. But anyway, so
those are the days.
So these passes are really cool. I don't know if the camera can see them or not, but
see, look at him.
There is a picture of a little kid there in his underwear with a, what is that? Is that a hard hat?
Yeah, or an army hat.
Or an army hat. And
I was just playing.
And he's got cowboy boots that are coming up to his knees.
Let's see.
That's actually Toby Keith.
Oh, wow.
On that pass. And another weird thing was, back then I was working for a guy named Dave, and I was working with another guy named Barney. And Toby had a Dave and a Barney working for him.
No kidding?
Yeah, well,
Dave was tour manager forever.
Right, and Barney was his stage manager for a long time.
Yeah, but he got another one.
He did. He did. But yeah, so for a long time it was Dave and Barney and Dave and Barney.
So on that frame poster from the Zoo Amphitheater, that is the May 1st. That's the May 3rd tornado relief show he did.
Wasn't that 93?
No.
99.
It was 99, wasn't it?
99.
Yeah, because we had the tower at that time.
So
a tornado.
A huge tornado.
F5, they call them.
And it came right through Moore, didn't it?
Yeah. It came right through Moore.
Which, by the way, by this time, Toby had his name painted on the water tower.
The tornado was like a mile wide.
Right.
And this was.
And a mile wide, and it was the same one that destroyed the midway point at Stroud.
Mm-hmm.
It was different. I think it went 150 miles, mile wide long.
Just destruction. And it was a path of just destruction.
It flew over the diamond.
It's actually just south of the diamond.
And then everything from 119th and Western and that area all the way down to I-35, destruction of just
everything.
I can remember we had Tommy Chong, and the Black Crows came to Oklahoma City. And didn't they do the tornado? They donated their money.
I think they did.
The tornado for about a month. We took Tommy Chong to the site. I'll never forget him getting out on 119th and Western, and just being in disbelief of everything. Just being the part.
Well, if you've never seen the destruction that a tornado does, it's.
I mean, we all make fun of naders, but.
In fact, this tornado went over I-35. It would have hit where Toby Keith's new bar is.
Yes, where the restaurant
was. Because now there's the Toby Keith's guys love that bar.
That's the path.
It went
for some crazy reason.
There's been like 2 or 3 of them that have gone right through the exact
years
same
later,
area.
we'll do it on a different level.
That's the meteorologist crossroads. That's where Gary England sold his
his
soul
soul?
to the devil to be the king of all meteorologists.
Wow.
That's the vortex right there.
Hey, right.
No wonder
You know
he,
what?
I wonder he doesn't live anywhere near there.
I would not. That's funny.
Jump back,
But,
Loretta.
yeah, I mean, hey, listen. We're like when they say,
Friday night in the big time.
when they say and they getting all amped up, you think they'd be doing that booger sugar.
Booger sugar.
Them dudes are like telling you, hey, if you're somewhere in this vicinity
You're gonna
and you
die.
don't take cover, you're going to die. And you're like,
I mean,
well,
where else do they say that? I mean,
in Oklahoma, on a nader,
On a nader.
on the news.
Yeah.
you know when hurricanes are coming, they don't sit.
They
there
don't
threaten you
have
like
to,
that.
but this is Oklahoma.
I love it
but-
when the Weather Channel storm chasers come in and they've got these armored tank vehicles, and like the Oklahoma storm chasers are just like in an S10 Blazer
Right.
and just like pussies.
But back to Toby, the things about that he gave to his community, he was always for the troops, and always seemed to be in the know, to be in the guy that to do things that he didn't have to do.
All things Sooner Athletics.
And
Major supporter.
Supporter of the military, big time supporter of the military.
His biggest dream was to play football for the Oklahoma Sooners, but he became such a country star that he could walk on the side. He was part of the team, and he was, like you said, an avid fan.
I learned today from talking to Doug Hill from the Norman Transcript that when they were doing productions like plays and stuff at I can't remember if it was the Boomer Theater or Sooner Theater or whatever it was, Sooner Theater. That he went to a production there and they were having audio issues with their microphones and whatnot, and he couldn't hear well enough. So he goes and buys all brand new wireless stuff and gives it to them so they can put on proper productions.
That's the kind of guy he was,
And then I don't want to go without talking about his foundation and Allie's House and the organizations that he donated to that fight childhood cancer.
Right.
Well, see, this was so cool when he came in and did this because, after Toby got big, he didn't play around Oklahoma City much. He played everywhere else.
He kind of got his feelings hurt because that the people didn't support him.
Support him.
They say
he could go to Wichita, or he could go to Dallas, or he could go anywhere else.
I seen it in action. I seen it by when we started booking the casinos, and for the longest time, it took us forever to get him to play Miami at the Buffalo Run outside. It took us forever to play in Durant.
But
Oklahoma.
when he did this, I mean, he jumped into this, wholeheartedly, and he called a lot of these people and got them here.
But when
but he was also a big part of the second tornado relief show in Norman.
So as my company, we started doing business. Like I said, it took us a minute to get him in the casinos, but when he got there, you know what? His numbers were good, better than the city, and he got into playing it, and we had him a few times. And as I got into production, started doing events. I mean, there were times that we went to his house, and my company was able to. We'd put together these fashion shows for this lady, and it'd be at his house, but you're there, and you could just see how the guy lived. But then the other things that my company and myself have been a part of was when the tornado hit the second time in
2000.
It's 10 years ago, 2014.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 2014 comes and the tornado, and Blake did a show at the Paycom with wasn't the Flaming Lips and
I can't remember
a few
who
other
was
bands on there, but he did his there.
And there was one at the Diamond.
And there was one at the Diamond.
With Kenny Wayne Shepherd and Keb Mo, Robert Randolph.
And we're talking more. And it was kind of like the vibe was, what is Toby going to do?
And didn't Jeff Keith also didn't Tesla do a show, and Jeff Keith donated a bunch of money for the show?
And so, it got
while wearing his Ida Bell Pride shirt.
You know that.
Where's it all the time in Durant? Where's it all the time in Durant? So
From Tessa, and here's the deal.
There's Jeff.
So then, and I was working for the University of Oklahoma, like I'm doing, and there was talks about they were going to do an event. Toby wanted to do an event. And, then they called Howard Pollack, and the lady, Lloyda, who for many years I worked for, sweetheart. But our reputation as the Fabulous Baker Boys of being able to do everything, the university wasn't just going to let anybody come and work. And so they asked me, hey, Max Baker Jr., can you handle this? Can you build this? Can you do this? They flew in some guys from that had this steel stage, and I mean,
because it was a massive stage.
I was handed probably the hardest job I've ever had to throw together in my life.
I remember your posts on Facebook every single day at various times. I need 45 people.
Who wants to work?
But let
me ask you something, Max. Was that the first show that played Owens Field after the Stones?
Yes.
No,
U2.
U2, Black Eyed Peas.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah. And then that was the other. But here's the thing.
So
I don't think any of that came into play. Toby wanted to do it. Everybody, the athletic department was all over it.
Right.
And I can remember going into the meetings.
Joe Castiglione was a different athletic director than OU had ever had previously.
Right.
He got it. He saw the big picture. Whereas the previous athletic directors, they didn't really want to do music. They were forced to a couple of times, but they didn't really want to mess with it.
But when that show came about, and they're like, Max, can you do this? And, it's like we donated a lot of the money back to people. I had people on my crew that lived in Moore that lost everything. So for us to be asked to be part of it was gigantic. For me to say, I'll do it, it's like you're taking your race bike to the starting line. You got to see who your team is. I had a group of people that were down with me the first day we started, and I called my sister, hey, can you get some time off? I really need your help, and it's like we were the guys that were asked to do this job. I was, and failing was not an option. And so, plus, was I scared? I was scared shitless. Was I, like my mother told me, hey, son, you just got to pray about it and have faith. It'll get you there. And with my sister there, I had a teammate.
I don't think you slept for 10 days.
I didn't. They got pictures of me sleeping in my truck. This was before, and this was when Max is in a wheelchair still.
Yeah.
And so, there were some people that in this city that turned me down, didn't want no part of it. So what did I have to do? I migrated some people from Texas who wanted to be part of the event that I became good friends with. But the other part of it is There were people that would volunteer their time, volunteer till they figured out what they got into, what they had gotten into. You know, I mean, because it was hard work.
Max,
Labor.
Isn't there a time lapse on YouTube?
Yes,
of that build?
I just posted it, and we'll post it on the Here's the Deal OK.com site. But they gave me a timeline of us putting this together. It's a 6-day event. They had a window. And this is when I learned about groundskeeping. Funny thing about that floor that we laid down, that floor was the dude who told us how to do it and supervised us on that floor is the guy that I worked for at the Texas Rangers. We met each other way back then and couldn't figure it out. And he asked me then, I just probably wasn't ready, like Jeff would say. But, you know, we laid that floor. We picked that floor up. We put the chairs down. We built that stage, crane and all, riggers and all. Everything that you see in that time lapse, the fabulous Baker boys, every one of them, and you guys know who you are. Sean McGillicuddy, Damon Moore, Ronnie Simpson,
Clint Morris,
Kelly Mills. I mean, there's a list of them that I, like I said, I started with 12.
Caleb.
I started with 12, and at the end of the day, I think out of the main 12, there were 10 left standing, and the other 2 were there. They just ran out of gas. But all, you know, and
Zach was there. There's also some video.
Zach Higgins was there.
There was video of Zach underneath the stage yelling at the hands. You see there's some people missing? you see there's people missing around here? It's because they didn't make their call. I'll fire you if you don't make your call. You understand?
Everybody
it's
on that crew probably got fired, but we all got hired back the next day.
Man, Higgins was all over it.
Austin. But to make a long story short,
he had to handle it, Jim.
Handle it, Higgins. That's right.
But the cool thing about it was, you know, every one of those artists, everybody in the university sports department made sure we had good food to eat, made sure we had plenty to drink. And like you said, Joe Castiglione, he shook every one of our hands, and the alumni, the coaches, everybody was just, I mean, the vibe of that thing was just so mind-boggling. But the artists, too. You know, I mean, you look around like...
Let's see, it was Garth, Trisha, Toby, Sammy Hagar, Willie...
John Anderson,
Ronnie Dunn.
Wasn't Mel Tillis there?
No, but there was another rock band. I thought
no. Mel Tillis.
It wasn't Mel Tillis.
You better look.
It wasn't Mel.
Seminole Wynn was there, but
John Anderson.
The cool thing about like Ronnie Dunn hung out with the Baker boys. Because he had no dressing room, you know, but he didn't care.
You know, there's also on YouTube a interview of Sammy Hagar interviewing Toby Keith
at his house.
Right. And then they go up to Hollywood Corners and they're on the stage at Hollywood Corners.
So, you know, that event goes by
2013.
Was it 13 or 14?
2013.
13. Okay.
Okay. Let's see here.
Dun, 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 dun. We thought you had it pulled up.
Well, I had the Google pulled up.
Oh.
Okay, so let's see here. Toby Keith, Garth Brooks, Trisha Yearwood, Willie Nelson, Sammy Hagar, Ronnie Dunn, Crystal Keith, Kelly Coffey, Mel Tillis,
told you,
John Anderson, as well as Carrie Underwood via satellite from the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville. And Garth and Trisha played early.
Yeah, because they had to get back on an airplane and fly back to Vegas because he was doing that residency.
Is that why he played so early? I never knew why. I just thought
that was it.
Wow.
Yeah, that was it. You know, plus he said he would never jam in that stadium, but he did.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, 'cause he's
you
an
know,
OSU boy.
you know.
But Toby was definitely responsible
but
for
everybody that you named was his friends.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never smoke weed with Willie again.
All these people were all
right. But the thing about it is, you're talking about Moore's finest, and he gave back to the community.
Yes, he did.
The other thing about it is, too, you look at the videos and the things that were out there, he wasn't friends he was friends with his peers. George Jones, Merle Haggard, they were tight. Him and Willie, you know.
Do you know
Willie, hooray for Willie. He outlived Toby.
Do you know the story about Merle Haggard's last show?
Yes, Toby finished it.
Merle was sick as a dog and had pneumonia. And I
dealt with the man during that time.
I did too. That's when I met him. I'd seen Merle maybe 3 months before
He played
in
the Choctaw.
Ardmore.
He played the Choctaw sick to make sure his band got paid, and then he went directly to the hospital. I think a couple shows after that he did the Vegas, and it was it.
Because I saw him at Heritage Hall in Ardmore. Aubrey brought him to town, and it was just a few months later. But that show, that last show that he was playing, I believe it was a casino in California.
No, it was in Vegas.
It was in Vegas,
Yeah.
okay? But I knew it was a casino show, and before the show, Toby was backstage just hanging out, talking with him, and he asked him, how many of my songs do you know? And he says, I know them all by heart.
Right.
And he says, well, if I give you the look, I need your help. And he said, okay. And it was about 3 songs in.
Right.
He couldn't go anymore.
You know,
and Toby came out and finished the set so the band got paid.
And that is a class act.
Bro.
Right there. That's
what a way to
people don't understand.
What a way to go out.
The musician life, if you're a hired gun for an act like Merle or Toby or one of these artists, it's not like a job like I have, where I work for a company and I have health insurance and there's, blah, blah, blah. You get paid per week or per show. And if the show doesn't happen, you don't get a bonus. You don't go home with enough money to cover your
guarantee.
Yeah, And so the fact that Merle was cognizant of that and wanted to make sure his guys got paid, and Toby understood it from being in the business. Right. That's an unbelievable
But that's
story.
where, being able to know his songs, and they had become that close.
Speaking of Merle Haggard and Toby Keith, there's a phenomenal YouTube video with David Allen Coe, Billy Joe Shaver, Toby Keith, Merle Haggard, and they're doing Working Man Blues.
Damn.
And it is badass.
It
is really, really good.
Moore's son lost. The fact of the matter is, and as I continue on, once we did that show and succeeded, and proud moments, to me to look at that time lapse thing and know that, hey man, that was us. We took the field. Some people say, what did you want to be when you were a little kid? When I was a little kid and I was a football player, the one thing that I wanted to do was play on that stadium. Play on my first game when I seen OU Nebraska in that stadium. Owen Stadium, as it'll always be to me. I wanted to play football on that stadium. Years later, I haven't played football, but I got a time-lapse video of what my companies was able to do, putting together an event like that helped.
Well, you actually got to go on the field several times before that.
Well,
because you got to go in there in Oklahoma, 1980. You went on that field with the Rolling Stones.
But I didn't play on it.
No, you didn't.
Every day I wasn't able to, like we were at that stadium every morning when we would start. We would run through that tunnel and touch that thing that says play like a champion.
Max Baker, freshman year of high school, there was a journalism convention at the University of Oklahoma for high school journalists called OIPA. And we got out of school. They bussed us up here and all that. And we go to this convention to learn about journalism from these college professors and whatever. So the guy that I came up with, we didn't want to eat in the student union because we knew better. So we went to O'Connell's when it was on the south side of the stadium. Ate at O'Connell's. We're walking back. And this is when they were replacing the AstroTurf with grass. And the turf was all ripped up and just laying there in the stadium. And so we hopped the fence and ran in there and ripped us off a big old piece of that AstroTurf and got chased by the campus cops as we ran through buildings trying to ditch them.
You know, and so,
I believe statute of limitations is run out. Yeah.
I was trying to add up the years.
You know, and a couple other things the Fabulous Baker Boys have been part of. OU, Lloyd Noble, when he did that tribute to his friend, Wayman Tisdale. I
don't care what anybody says. That's the best Toby Keith song ever recorded. A song for Wayman. If you're not in tears by the end of that, you have no soul.
That's the tightness of them, and that's the kind of guy he was. But and
they were legitimately really, really close.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Wayman Tisdale, All-American at OU, played in the NBA, and he was just as prolific of a jazz bass player as he was a basketball player.
He could jam, dude.
Dude could throw down. And apparently he and Toby Keith became very, very close.
And so, you know, they had a halftime show, national televised game, and what did what were the Baker Boys hired for? We got hired. Here's what you got. You got a timer, 2 minutes. He's going to play that song, and when he's done, we got 2 minutes to clear it so we can get back to the ball game. Can't miss a beat. This is your test.
There is no wiggle room.
You know,
with a televised game,
it's called game on.
Yeah.
And you know what? The best thing you do is you do your mindset. But the Fabulous Baker Boys and Girls, we knocked that shit out of the park, and you know, got it done. So here you go. You got it done. That's another thing that we had done with Toby Keith. You know, he thanked those guys, and away they went. So a few years went by, and, you know, Smitty, every time we'd get together, we're talking road stories, and you know, he's my very dear friend, and my heart hurts for him because, you know, it's kind of different. There's rock stars, but sometimes when you grow up and you know that person, you know, you went to high school together, they're at your mom's house, your mom's back in the day, you know, you went to other people's houses or they came to yours, and guess what? If the meals were flowing, you were eating. If fun was going on, you were in it.
True.
You know, and so I just feel sad that Smitty, you know, you think about all those times, and, you know, there's years that go by and you get away and maybe you didn't talk as much as you should. But when, you know, when your friend goes, it hurts.
It's true.
And so, but the fucked up part about it, and I pardon my language because it makes me mad, it hurts my heart. But when cancer's involved, you're it. It's done. And, you know, it's sad. My friends, David Huff, Rebecca Snyder, Toby Keith, you know, it don't matter what you got. It don't matter who you are. When it takes you, it takes you. But the good times of Toby. Then, so Danny Miller calls me a few years later, and he tells me, you know, we the Fabulous Baker Boys are known for building private parties. And when you do private parties and you do private affairs, you can't talk about them. They don't. They. It's like feeding you the information. It's like giving the mice the cheese. You only get so much. We'll tell you what we're doing tomorrow. And I still work that way. And it's not. It's a little different, but that's how people roll. Because this is before pre-internet or anything like that. And I've been in some very wealthy homes, and you never know who the bands are. Could be the Eagles, could be Bon Jovi, could be Toby Keith, could be Faith, and they could be the Eagles. You just don't know.
Alabama.
It just could be. But
Pauly Shore.
So Danny calls me. He says, "Man, I got to throw something together." I said, "Well, what do we got to do?" He says, "Well, there's this place on the corner as you go into Norman called Hollywood Corners." He says, "We got 4 days to build a stage with a roof, and we'll have a crane out here. We'll have welders. We'll have and you're going to be you come out here, and I don't know how long you're going to be here, but it became 4 overnights and trading out crews. Not only did we build the stage, but we built the stage, we set it all up, and then we were told that we'd be helping. They were going to cut 3 different shows, and come to find out, they wanted to do a behind the music type thing or country storytellers or whatever it was for Toby Keith. And, most of these were being cut in Nashville or Hollywood, but not by Toby standards. Toby said, "Hey," and, I didn't even know this till after, but he had purchased that place.
Mm-hmm.
And back the history of Hollywood Corners, if you don't know it, is there's a highway called, was it 77?
Mm-hmm.
77 that runs. It was old I-35.
Before 35.
Before 35.
That's how you went north and south.
77 was what you went down. And Hollywood Corners was known as a truck stop, pit stop, so to speak, because it was a road well traveled by people like Hank Williams, Bob Wilson, the Texas Playboys, and it had a gas station. It was a gas stop. But here's what they would do. They would pull off and throw down there and play in it for money to get fuel and goods for their bus to go on down the road. It wasn't a stop where you were getting paid. It just became known for that. And so he had bought in Hollywood Corners, and we were building this stage. The stage was going to be used because he told Nashville or whoever, if you want me to do it behind the music, you're going to do it the way that I would like to do it. And we're going to do it in my hometown. And we're going to do it at this place, which was a very smart move on his part, because you can't do a show without a stage. You can't film without a stage. And it has to look professional. So the money was there. Farmers and Insurance endorsed it. So not only are we doing these events and filming 3 things, what's going to happen when it's done? Stage stays. It didn't get tore down. It's still there today.
It is.
Many bands get to play on events and everything.
Hippies filmed a video there.
That we did, yeah. Dirty Finger and Moonshine. The Texas Hippie Coalition was filmed at Hollywood Corners with him watching. He liked the band, but he didn't want to endorse the band. That's what he told Big Dad. And Big Dad asked him, "Hey, won't you take us on tour?" Oh, but the sad part about it is he was just like that. He came up in a different way, But he liked those hippies. He just didn't know what to think. But we built that, And so Smitty, I worked with him direct during all that. He tells me, hey, man, you've never really met Toby? I said, no, I've only met him at the time we were going to fight. and he's like, well, let me introduce you to him. So it's late. He's sitting in his car. Smitty introduces him to me, and he says, what'd you say your name was? I said, Max Baker. He said, you from Moore? And I said, yeah, I'm from Moore. And he said, haven't I ever tried to fight you? And I was like, yeah. He goes, well, man, if you're Smitty's friend, you're cool with me. And he takes, and I you should go in here and get this, but he had a tequila brand coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, hey, man, why don't you do something with this bottle for me? And he gives me this bottle of tequila that's empty. And he goes, it might be worth something someday. And I want, I'm thinking in my mind, you son of a bitch. But it was just, that was the time that I had met him, and it was all good. And then when I'd see him like when he played in Durant or he played the Buffalo Run, shake my hand, hey, how you doing? It became a little easier. And so we were able to do those events. But the one thing that as this cancer and plus, hey, Big Dog Cannabis, he believed in medicine, and in the end, you've seen him out and about. His jamming, just wanting to go and jam. And then the other one, this one's funny. You could ask Teresa Thomas, but we got before he got sick. This is one of the last times I'd ever done anything directly where he was there. We did. We got called to do set up for a stage, sound and lights for a private party. It's Shangri-La at Grand Lake. And, by the golf course. He was a big golfer. What was it, Belmar?
Belmar Country Club.
Yeah.
And golf course.
We've done events there. And it was Toby's birthday party. And as Teresa Thomas explains it, there was one Toby Keith, drunk as a skunk, that fell off stage singing with that band. He liked this one band that Jeff Blunt's in. What's it called? Super Freak.
Super Freak.
Paige Harwell and them. Those were his guys. They were all tight. But, I'm in the entertainment business. I'm a proud Okie, just like Toby Keith. I admire people like that. I admire the fact that the one thing that I always say is, you should never forget where you came from. And Toby Keith is a prime example of never forgetting where he come from. No matter what, and this isn't about what your views are, what your thing are. For some time in your life, you should just take all that out and look at it for what it's worth. And then look at it for everybody in the world that is affected by cancer of some sort. It saddens me, and it's something that I don't know if they'll have a cure for, but whatever it is out there, Should have been a cowboy.
The Here's the Deal podcast, sponsored by MedCards Made Easy and the Fabulous Baker Boys. Hosted by Jay Ramone and Max Baker Jr. Produced, engineered, and fact-checked by Josh Lupton and Jeff Browning. Subscribe to the Here's the Deal podcast wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
Hi, this is Joey Ramone here, and when I'm in Oklahoma, I party with Mad Max.